Hello and welcome to Uzreport World News, and my name is Bahram Gaffarov. Uzbekistan's Anti-Coronavirus Commission has made a decision to suspend international flights with the United Kingdom, Italy, Germany, Denmark, Austria, Australia, the Netherlands and South Africa until January 10, 2021. The decision was made due to the epidemiological situation in these countries.
Most European and other nations have decided to restrict international air traffic, as Great Britain, one of the first last week, unveiled a new strain of COVID. Titled COVID-21, the new strain spreads 70% faster than the previous one. Citizens of Uzbekistan entering the country through third countries who have stayed during the last 14 days in the United Kingdom, Italy, Germany, Denmark, Austria, Australia, the Netherlands and South Africa will be quarantined for 14 days in a temporary quarantine complex or in a hotel. These restrictions will be gradually lifted as the epidemiological situation in these countries stabilizes.
Uzbekistan on Wednesday has signed loan and insurance agreements with the World Bank Group, Abu Dhabi Future Energy Company, Mazda and the Asian Development Bank to finance the construction of country's first 100-megawatt solar photovoltaic station. My colleague has more.
The International Finance Corporation and ADB are expected to spend up to $60 million to finance this project. The World Bank intends to provide a $5.1 million bank guarantee to the government of Uzbekistan. It will be used to secure the financial obligations of the national electric grids of Uzbekistan under the electricity purchase agreement signed with Mazda to cover the risk of non-payment for the supplied electricity. It is planned that 300,000 photovoltaic panels of the power plant, located on a site of 268 hectares, 35 kilometers east of the city of Navai, will begin to supply the generated energy to the electrical networks of Uzbekistan in 2021. The plant will annually produce 270 gigawatt-hours of electricity from solar energy per year, which is enough to supply more than 31,000 households with electricity. In addition, its operation would prevent the emission of 156,000 metric tons of greenhouse gases per year.
Uzbek Minister of Economic Development and Poverty Reduction, Jamshid Kuchkarev, and Director General of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, Lee Yong, signed a joint declaration for an initial period of 4 years.
The joint declaration commits the Ministry of Economic Development and UNIDO to develop cooperation in various areas, including green industry, circular economy, renewable energy sources and energy efficiency, agro-industrial clusters, modernization of light industry and other mutually agreed areas of action to promote inclusive and sustainable industrial development and the achievement of the Agenda Day for sustainable development for the period up to 2030. The joint declaration will also contribute to the implementation of the industrial development strategy of the Republic of Uzbekistan until 2030 and will be accompanied by a roadmap for its implementation.
People arriving in Uzbekistan will have to undergo express tests for coronavirus. The decision announced by the Anti-Coronavirus Commission will take effect on December 25th. The rapid test is to be conducted at airports, railway stations and border points at the expense of visitors. The procedure also applies to those who have a certificate with a negative result of PCR test for COVID-19. Upon receiving a positive result of the rapid test, patients will be placed in specialized medical institutions for the treatment or sent to treatment at home. The Russian Federation has recently expressed doubts about the quality of livestock products produced in Uzbekistan and temporarily banned its import. The ban has been resolved by negotiating with the Russian side, and now exports of meat and dairy products, including raw materials that undergo heat treatment, are gradually recovering.
Entrepreneurs who produce meat and dairy products in Uzbekistan can sell their goods on the Russian market. They are required to enter the Unified Register of Enterprises engaged in export to the member countries of the Eurasian Economic Union. Prior to this, they have to pass an audit and inspection of products with the participation of authorized bodies of the union members. At the first stage, the products of 9 Uzbek enterprises will pass such an inspection, after which they will be issued an export permit.
The Tashkent State Dental Institute will set up its branch in Adema University College, which is a part of the University of the Balearic Islands. The first ever Uzbek educational institution's overseas branch opening was discussed during an online conference between the health ministries of Spain and Uzbekistan.
An agreement that was signed between the president of the University of the Balearic Islands, Carrasco, and the rector of the Tashkent State Dental Institute, Kaidarov, stipulates that around 30 teachers should conduct retraining courses and advanced training courses for Spanish specialists in 6 areas of dentistry. It's also envisaged admitting next year 100 Spanish students to advanced dental training courses, creating conditions for patients from Spain to use the possibilities of the medical tourism in Uzbekistan. The University of the Balearic Islands was founded in 1978 and is administered by the government of the Balearic Islands. Today, more than 18,000 students study social sciences and humanities, medical, dental, information technology. 7 scientific laboratories at the university conduct research in the field of biology, ecology, digital medicine, and genetics.
Courtyard by Marriott Tashkent Hotel, owned by the US brand Marriott International, has started operating in Tashkent. The opening ceremony of the 4-star hotel was attended by the chairman of the State Committee for Tourism Development, Aziz Abduhakimov, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of United States of America to Uzbekistan, Daniel Rosenblum.
Aziz Abduhakimov says that there were no business segments hotels in Uzbekistan before, and the government is eager to support the hospitality industry. According to a special tourism stimulus program, the hotel owners will have 25% off from their construction expenses. That is around $6,000 for a room in 4-star hotels and $4,000 in 3-star hotels. It's planned to allocate almost $90 million from the state budget to the hospitality industry in 2021. The 131-room Courtyard Hotel has 5 multi-sectoral conference rooms, 2 grill and bar restaurants, and 2 bars serving European and national dishes. There is also a fitness room and swimming pool for business travelers. Alexander Bakanov, general manager of the hotel, touched upon the construction process during the press conference held as a part of the opening ceremony. We have spent more than 4 years for the construction of this hotel. Finally, we managed to open it. I hope that by the middle of the next year, the hotel will be able to attract more tourists, especially those in the business sector, and recover the loss of this year. The committee chairman reiterates that it's planned to open similar hotels in Samarkand, Bukhara, and other cities of the country as part of the tourism boosting program.
The U.S. government does not intend to require passengers traveling to the U.S. from Great Britain to take COVID-19 tests before boarding their planes, sources told Reuters, despite the emergence of a more contagious variant of the coronavirus, which is spreading rapidly in the U.K. The decision by the Trump administration flies in the face of even stricter measures taken by dozens of other countries, which have closed their borders altogether to U.K. travelers. Sources said White House coronavirus task force members had backed mandatory pre-flight tests after a meeting on Monday, but by Tuesday, that idea had been nixed. To help keep the virus at bay, airlines flying from London to New York's John F. Kennedy Airport have agreed to only allow passengers who test negative within 72 hours of departure to fly.
It's serious, my friends.
That request came from New York Governor Andrew Cuomo on Monday, who had urged the federal government to take broader action to help contain the new variant.
Why don't we act intelligently for a change? Why don't we mandate testing before people get on the flight or halt the flights from the UK now?
Still, preventative measures could be too late, as top U.S. infectious disease expert Dr. Anthony Fauci on Tuesday told ABC's Good Morning America that it is possible that the variant is already in the U.S.
It really is a disgrace.
In a video message posted on Twitter Tuesday night, U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to not sign the $900 billion coronavirus relief bill unless Congress amends it. And once again, he claimed falsely that he might stay in office.
I'm asking Congress to amend this bill and increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000 or $4,000 for a couple. I'm also asking Congress to immediately get rid of the wasteful and unnecessary items from this legislation and to send me a suitable bill, or else the next administration will have to deliver a COVID relief package, and maybe that administration will be me.
The bipartisan economic stimulus package passed by Congress Monday night was meant to throw a lifeline to Americans after months of inaction by the government, as the coronavirus outbreak continues to spread nationwide. Trump said the bill was much different than anticipated and listed items at length that he believed were wasteful spending, like foreign aid and reef management.
It's called the COVID relief bill, but it has almost nothing to do with COVID.
Many critics of the bill have argued that the new round of aid doesn't go far enough and are already calling for President-elect Joe Biden to do more once he takes office on January 20th. At a press conference earlier on Tuesday, Biden said he plans to offer more assistance to the millions of Americans out of work during the pandemic.
We need more funding to help firefighters and police, many of whom are being laid off as I speak. And the same with nurses, risking their lives in the front lines. The same for millions of hurting families who are unable to put food on the table, pay rent, or the mortgage.
The relief bill included $600 payments that most Americans would have received as early as next week.
With the end of his term in sight, U.S. President Donald Trump on Tuesday set in motion a wave of pardons. 20 in all, including people convicted in the Russia investigation, and 3 former Republican congressmen convicted of financial crimes. There's a full pardon for George Papadopoulos, a campaign advisor for the 2016 presidential race. Papadopoulos had pleaded guilty in 2017 of lying to FBI agents about his Russia contacts during the investigation into Moscow's meddling in the election. The man who led the probe, Robert Mueller, had called his crimes serious. But the White House defended the pardon, saying it helped, quote, correct the wrong that Mueller's team inflicted on so many people. Another pardon went to lawyer Alex Vanderswan, also convicted of lying to investigators during the Mueller probe. Both men have served short prison sentences. The 3 ex-GOP lawmakers on the clemency list were convicted of crimes from securities fraud to misuse of campaign funds. Also listed are 4 former U.S. service members serving time for killing Iraqi civilians while working as contractors in 2007. Tuesday's pardons by the outgoing president had been expected, and they may not be his last before Democratic President-elect Joe Biden takes office in January.
France will reopen its borders to passengers from England on Wednesday, ending a blockade intended to stop the spread of a new coronavirus variant, but which has held up thousands of trucks before Christmas. Much of the world shut its borders to the United Kingdom after a significantly more transmissible mutated coronavirus variant was discovered spreading swiftly across southern England. With long lines of trucks snaking to the horizon in England and some supermarket shelves stripped just days before Christmas, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson scrambled to get French President Emmanuel Macron to lift the ban on goods transported from Britain. Truckers were told not to travel to the Kent region, home to England's most heavily used rail and ferry lines. The European Commission advised that non-essential travel to and from Britain should be discouraged, but said that people heading home should be allowed to do so provided they undergo a COVID-19 test or quarantine for 10 days. Late on Tuesday, a deal was reached with Paris to allow French and other EU residents to return home, providing they have a negative COVID test that is less than 72 hours old. Britain said it would begin handing out tests at multiple locations on Wednesday, but cautioned that the process would take time.
So far, these were the latest news for today. Goodbye. Take care.